Okay, question 20. Again, this is Module 3 review for Math 990. This is video number 2. We need to find the domain and range of this relation. So the domain is all the x values, the range is the y values. One way that I keep this straight is D comes before R in the alphabet, X comes before Y. So domain goes with X, range goes with Y. Well, in this case, notice the domain is just -2 repeated. So we don't need to list -2 4 times, we just say it once. So the domain is -2. Now the range is 6, 5, 4, 3. Typically you want to list these from least to greatest. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now we need to decide, is it a function? Well, if it has repeating x values, it is not a function. So this one is not. If you forget this, what you can do is you can graph it. So we'd have -2, 6, 5, 4, 3. It does not pass the vertical line test. What that means is if we draw a vertical line, we're going to hit more than one point, and that means this is not a function. So two ways: you can either just try to remember no repeating x's, or it has to pass the vertical line test, which this does not, and so this one is not a function. Okay, we need to, number 21, write an equation for a line perpendicular to this equation and passing through the point 12, -1. So the slope is -4. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. So if this is -4, the perpendicular slope will be the reciprocal, which is 1/4, and it has to be positive. Now that's all we need from that line. We can even cross it out after. Now we're going to use the point 12, -1, and we're going to put it into point slope form. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus y1, we get y minus -1 in parentheses equals m, which is 1/4, times x minus x1, which is 12. Let's simplify here. We get y plus 1 equals, let's go ahead and distribute the 1/4 in, so 1/4 x. We have the 12 over 1, so it'll end up as 12 over 4. So we can even do that over here. 1/4 times 12 over 1, so that becomes 12 over 4. 12 divided by 4 is just 3. So that ends up so nicely, just 3. Okay, we minus the 1 on each side, so we end up with y equals 1/4 x. -3 minus 1 is -4, so that will be our equation. So 1/4 x minus 4. Okay. Let's look at 23. We have y is greater than 1/2 x. So when we graph this first, we'll just graph y equals 1/2 x. Because this is solved for y, I would graph it using the y-intercept, or the slope-intercept method. So mx plus b. So m is the number in front of x, it's 1/2. This one looks a little weird though, right? And it's because there's no b. If you want, you can do a little substitute plus 0, but I know it can look a little weird, and that might help because this time b is just going to equal 0, which means we know 0 is always x for the y-coordinate, but in this case, or for the y-intercept, but 0 is also going to be the y value, which means we start just at 0, 0. Then we use our slope, up 1 over 2. We can do a couple of those, although using the system you probably can't. Okay. Now we need to go back to graphing inequality style. So it is just greater than, it doesn't have an equal sign, so that means it's going to be a dotted line. Now we need to decide which side is it going to be shaded on. Well, typically we like to do 0, 0, but it passes through 0, 0, so we have to choose a different point. Why don't we just choose this one right here, which is 0 for x, 1 for y. So that'll be our test point. we plug it in. 1 for y is greater than 1/2 times 0. So basically 1 is greater than 0. Is that true? Yes, it's true. And so we will shade that side. So you can see these problems, we just take one step at a time. First we graph it, then we decide is it dotted or solid, and then we decide where we're going to shade it. We figure out where we're going to shade it. You could also graph this by finding points. Just make sure you find 2 or 3 to give yourself a good idea of where it's going to go. Okay, we've done one similar to 24 and 25 and 26. I think we're good on 27, 28. I think we're good. Okay, good luck on this quiz. If you have other questions that are still stumping you, send me an email. I'll make you another video or we can meet and we'll talk soon.